A plate shattered against the wall. Porcelain exploded across the restaurant floor. Customers gasped. Someone stood up, knocking over a chair. The manager's voice cut through the noise like a whip. "Are you blind, Maya? That table has been waiting for 15 minutes. Maya Johnson froze in the middle of the aisle, tray shaking in her hands. Hot soup dripped onto her wrist, but she didn't flinch. Her heart was pounding too loud to feel anything else. "I'm sorry," she said quickly. The kitchen mixed up the tickets. "Excuses," the manager snapped. "You've been distracted all night. If you don't want this job, say so." The restaurant buzzed with murmurs. Phones lifted. A woman whispered, "Poor thing." Another said, "This is why standards are dropping." Maya swallowed the humiliation. She bent down, gathering broken pieces with trembling fingers. "I said I'm sorry." "Sorry doesn't pay complaints," the manager hissed. "One more mistake and you're done." The words hit harder than the plate, because she couldn't lose this job. Not now. Not tonight. Not when tomorrow could destroy everything. She carried the tray to the kitchen, pushed through the swinging doors, and rushed into the storage room. The door slammed shut behind her. The noise of the dining area muffled into a distant roar, and she broke. Her hands covered her face as tears spilled through her fingers. "I can't do this," she whispered. "I can't lose the house. I can't lose him." Her breath came sharp and uneven. "I need a husband by tomorrow," she choked out. "I need a husband by tomorrow or it's over." Silence. Except it wasn't silent, because the storage room door hadn't fully latched. And just beyond it, in the narrow hallway between kitchen and dining room, a tall man in a dark tailored coat stood very still. He had heard every word. Kang Min-jae did not believe in coincidences. He believed in leverage, and he believed in timing. The crying stopped after a few minutes. Maya wiped her face, inhaled deeply, and stepped out, nearly colliding with him. "Oh," she startled. Up close, he didn't look like one of the usual customers. Too composed, too deliberate. His eyes were steady, assessing but not cruel. "I'm sorry," she said quickly, stepping aside. "Staff area." "I know," he replied calmly. His voice was low, smooth, controlled. She nodded awkwardly and hurried past him back to the dining room, unaware that her life had just shifted on its axis. That night, after closing, Maya walked home instead of taking the bus. She needed the air. Her phone buzzed. It was her uncle. She stared at the screen before answering. "You have until tomorrow evening," he said without greeting. "If you're not legally married by then, I'm filing the claim." "You can't do that," she said tightly. "Grandma wanted me to have the house. Grandma wanted stability. The will is clear. Married granddaughter. Not struggling waitress. I am stable. You live paycheck to paycheck." Her jaw tightened. "You've had a year," he continued. "No husband. No engagement. No progress. I'm not letting that property rot while you play independent woman. I'm not playing anything." "Tomorrow," he repeated. 5 p.m. The call ended. Maya stood under a flickering streetlight, her stomach hollow. The house wasn't just property. It was her grandmother's kitchen with the cracked yellow tiles. It was Sunday laughter. It was the only place her 10-year-old brother still smiled without fear. If she lost it, her uncle would sell it. And then, her phone buzzed again. Unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. "Hello, Miss Johnson." Her spine straightened. She recognized the voice instantly. "The restaurant." "Yes," he said. "This is Kang Min-jae." She swallowed. "Is something wrong?" "I'd like to speak with you. In person. Tomorrow morning. 10 a.m. Her heart thudded. "Am I fired?" "No." A pause. "Not unless you refuse to listen." The line went dead. Maya barely slept. At 10 sharp the next morning, she was ushered into the manager's office. But instead of her manager, Min-jae sat behind the desk. The manager stood awkwardly to the side. "I'll leave you too," he muttered before slipping out. Maya stood stiffly. "If this is about last night." "It is," Min-jae interrupted. Her throat tightened. You said you needed a husband by tomorrow. Her face burned. I was emotional, she said quickly. It was personal. I didn't mean. I'd like to propose one. The words landed like a physical blow. She blinked. Excuse me? A marriage? She stared at him. Are you joking? I don't joke about contracts. Contracts? Yes. A legal marriage for 1 year. Public. Convincing. Mutually beneficial. She let out a short, disbelieving laugh. This is insane. Is it? He stood, walking slowly around the desk. He stopped a few feet from her, not invading her space, but close enough that she felt the gravity of him. Your grandmother's will requires you to be married to inherit the property. Her eyes widened. You have until 5 p.m. tomorrow. How do you know that? I investigate thoroughly. Her pulse raced. You had no right. I own this restaurant chain, he said calmly. When one of my employees cries about losing her home, I find out why. Her mouth went dry. I don't need pity. This isn't pity. Then what is it? Efficiency. She folded her arms. Why would you marry a stranger? My grandfather will remove me as CEO if I do not marry within 3 months. She stared. So this is convenient? Yes. That's cold. It's practical. Silence stretched between them. I don't even know you, she said. You know enough. And what exactly do you think you know about me? That you work 2 shifts. That you send most of your paycheck to private tutoring for your younger brother. That you haven't dated in 2 years. That you cried alone instead of asking anyone for help. Her chest tightened. You don't know me, she repeated softer. I know you need a husband by tomorrow. She felt cornered. And what do you get? She asked. A public wife. Stability in the eyes of the board. Time. And after a year? Divorce. Generous settlement. Her pride flared. I'm not selling myself. You're protecting your home. Her phone buzzed again. Uncle. She declined the call. Min-jae noticed. You have options, he said evenly. Marry a stranger from desperation. Or marry someone who has no interest in controlling you. You expect me to trust you? No, he replied. I expect you to read the contract. He slid a folder onto the desk. Her hands trembled as she opened it. Clear clauses. Separate finances. No physical obligations. Confidentiality. Respect. No hidden traps. Her mind raced. This is crazy, she whispered. 5 p.m., he reminded her. He walked toward the door. If you decline, I will not interfere in your affairs again. He paused. But if you accept, I will not let anyone take what is yours. The door closed behind him. At 4:30 p.m., Maya stood outside a courthouse in a simple white dress she'd bought years ago for church. She felt numb. Min-jae stood beside her in a tailored black suit. Expression unreadable. Last chance, he said quietly. Her uncle's car was parked across the street. Watching, she inhaled slowly. I have one condition. State it. If at any point this becomes humiliating, if I feel like a prop, I walk. Agreed. And you don't control my brother. Agreed. She searched his face for doubt. She found none. Okay, she whispered. They walked inside. By 5:20 p.m., Maya Johnson was legally married to Kang Min-jae. When they stepped outside, flashes exploded. She froze. Reporters. Cameras. What is this? She hissed. Announcement, he said calmly. You said public, not circus. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. If we don't control the narrative, someone else will. A microphone was thrust forward. Mr. Kang, is this an arranged marriage? He looked at Maya. For half a second, something softened in his eyes. No, he said clearly. This is my wife. The way he said it made her heart stutter. My wife. Her uncle stared from across the street, stunned. Maya met his gaze. For the first time, she felt powerful. That night, she stood in the penthouse living room, staring at the city lights. I can't believe I did this, she murmured. You can leave, Min-jae said from behind her. She turned. After humiliating myself publicly? You are not humiliated. You don't know what it feels like to have people assume you married for money. I do. She frowned. Every woman I have dated, he said evenly, has been accused of exactly that. Silence. Your room is down the hall, he continued. My office is separate. Staff will address you as Mrs. Kong. That sounds strange. You will adjust. And you? I adjust quickly. She let out a small breath. Thank you, she said quietly. For what? For not letting him win. He nodded once. The next morning, the headlines exploded. CO marries unknown waitress. Gold digger or true love? Social media was vicious. Maya scrolled through comments until her chest tightened. She trapped him. She's using him. She'll be gone in a year. She threw the phone down. Min-jae entered the room. Stop reading, he said. I didn't think it would be like this. It will get worse before it gets quiet. Her shoulders slumped. Do you regret it? She asked. No. The answer came too quickly. That unsettled her more than doubt would have. Days passed. They attended a corporate gala together. Maya wore a deep blue gown. She felt exposed, like everyone could see through her. Whispers followed her. Waitress. Charity case. One woman approached, smiling thinly. I'm Soo-jin, she said sweetly. Min-jae and I were engaged once. Maya blinked. Oh, I'm surprised, Soo-jin continued, eyes flicking over her dress. He moved on so diversely. The insult was clear. Maya held her ground. I'm surprised too, she replied calmly. He has excellent taste. Soo-jin's smile faltered. Min-jae appeared beside them. Is there a problem? He asked. None, Maya said smoothly. Soo-jin walked away. You handled that well, he said quietly. I've handled worse. His gaze lingered on her longer than usual. That night he worked late in his office. Maya knocked softly. You should eat, she said, holding a plate. He looked up, surprised. You cooked. I didn't trust your staff to season properly. He almost smiled. They ate in silence at first. Then she said, Why are you really doing this? He set down his fork. I told you. That's the business reason. He held her gaze. My grandfather believes love is weakness. I wanted to prove him wrong. Her heart skipped. And marrying me proves that? It proves I choose for myself. The words lingered between them. Weeks passed. They fell into a rhythm. She teased him about his seriousness. He quietly transferred funds to secure her brother's school tuition without announcement. When she found out, she confronted him. You can't just do that. Yes, I can. I don't want to owe you. You don't. I do. Then consider it an investment. In what? In peace. Her eyes softened. One evening, she found him asleep at his desk. 3 a.m. She draped a blanket over him. He stirred. Don't, he murmured. Don't what? Don't look at me like that. Like what? Like I'm human. Her chest tightened. You are, she whispered. The turning point came fast. A news outlet released leaked documents. Marriage contract between CEO and waitress exposed. The clauses were splashed across every screen. Contract. Arrangement. Temporary. Maya's world tilted. She stared at Min-jae. You said confidential. It was. Then how? I'm handling it. Handling it. Her voice cracked. They're calling me a hired wife. You knew it was contractual. Yes, but not like this. Not exposed. He stepped toward her. I will fix it. You can't fix humiliation with money. His jaw tightened. Is that what you think I do? I don't know what you do, she shouted. I don't know who you are. Silence. She shook her head. I asked for a husband, she whispered. Not a strategy. She walked past him. He didn't stop her. She packed her bag. At the door, she paused. For what it's worth, she said softly. I almost believed it was real. The door closed. Min-jae stood alone in the silent penthouse. For the first time in years, control slipped from his hands. The next morning, the board meeting was tense. "You embarrassed the company," a board member snapped. "Annul the marriage. Apologize publicly." Min-jae stood slowly. "I will make a public statement." "Good. But not the one you expect." Cameras flashed again as he stepped to the podium. "My marriage began as a contract," he said clearly. Gasps rippled through the room. But somewhere along the way, it stopped being one. He pulled a paper from his pocket. The contract. He tore it in half. "And I am not divorcing my wife." Shock. "I love her." Silence fell. "And if that costs me this position," he continued calmly, "so be it." He stepped away from the podium. Minutes later, he stood outside the small yellow house. Rain poured. Maya opened the door, stunned. "What are you doing here?" "Finishing what I started." She folded her arms. "You already finished it." "No." He stepped closer. "I married you to solve a problem," he admitted. "But I stayed because you made me feel something I haven't felt in years." She said nothing. "You see people," he continued, "even when they don't deserve it." Her eyes glistened. "You don't get to fix this with a speech," she whispered. "I'm not fixing it," he said softly. "I'm choosing you." Thunder cracked overhead. "Even if I lose everything." She searched his face. "You'd give up your company?" "Yes." "For me?" "Yes." The word came without hesitation. Her breath caught. "You're an idiot," she murmured. "Probably." Tears slipped down her cheeks. "You hurt me." "I know. You made me feel small. I never meant to. But you did." He nodded. "Then let me spend the rest of my life making that right." The rain soaked them both. She stepped forward slowly. "You don't get a contract anymore," she said. "I don't want one. You don't get an exit clause." "I'm not looking for one." She exhaled. "Okay." He blinked. "Okay. Okay." He let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. She stepped into his arms. This time it wasn't strategic. It wasn't public. It was real. Months later, the house was alive again. Her brother ran through the yard, laughing. Min-jae stood awkwardly by the grill. "You're burning it," Maya teased. "I run a corporation. And yet you can't flip a burger." He looked at her. "Some skills take time." She smiled. "So does love." He reached for her hand. "No," he corrected gently. "Love doesn't take time." She raised an eyebrow. "It takes courage." She squeezed his fingers. "If you've made it this far, you already know this wasn't just about a marriage. It was about choosing love over pride, courage over control." If this story moved you, if you felt their journey, don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more powerful stories like this, and comment below. Would you risk everything for love? Maya looked at Min-jae across the yard. "No contracts?" she asked one last time. He smiled softly. "Only forever." And this time, forever didn't feel like a deadline. Felt like home.